What's going on, you guys? This is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you a video on something nostalgic. Yes, we are actually going to be running it back to talk about Transformers 1 and give an idea on what could have been and ask you guys the question of, should we let it go? But before we dive into today's topic, I want to ask you guys to do me the biggest favor and like this video. Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying getting this request at the very beginning of a video before you watch it in its entirety, but YouTube's algorithm encourages it. So if you rock with your boy and you know I'm going to bring you that awesome content, then smash that like button and press that hype button. But if you feel like I've wasted 10 minutes of your time that you can't get back, then feel free to retract that like and give it a dislike. Just rate the video. But yeah, guys, after scouring the dark depths of Twitter/X, I saw this post that really motivated me to make this video. A user by the name of Zetat TF posted saying, and I quote, "I get that many fans are ticked off about Transformers 1 flopping, but honestly, it's time to let it go. It sucks, I get it, but it is what it is. There's nothing that can be done now, and there's no point in staying angry about it." Yeah, I just saw that. I'm like, okay, so obviously the thoughts of Transformers 1 are still fresh on our minds, and we're still wondering about what could have been if this thing continued on. As you guys are aware, the movie ended up failing at the box office, which is due to a multitude of things, such as fans being burnt out on the franchise and seeing multiple mediocre films prior. We're talking 5 years of complete and utter chaos with explosions galore, with little to no storytelling at all. Not only did the classical roster look unfamiliar, but they also felt unfamiliar, which was initially a forgivable sin in the first movie, with the robots not getting that much characterization, but it still worked. I mean, one could argue that Optimus Prime was clearly the same character fans grew up watching, full of his platitudinous speeches and respect for all life, even featuring the voice actor of Peter Cullen reprising his role after 20 years of being absent. And the decision to make Bumblebee this crippled mute bot that speaks through his radio really added a lot of charm to the movie. But it would be that very same gimmick that would really hurt the character and the franchise at large, because Bumblebee, despite being a popular character in the original, wasn't as popular as these movies elevated him to be. The guy honestly became the face of the live-action filmverse, and it seems like his gimmick followed him wherever he went, even if it wasn't in the movies. To make matters worse, the robots themselves were given these broad, aggressive personalities with each sequel, with Optimus Prime coming off as a more sadistic warrior than previously seen in the first movie. But the creme de la creme of why these movies were so bad would have to be the human characters, which were very cartoony and got even more cartoony as the movies progressed. So as you could expect, a lot of people just did not feel like tolerating that anymore, which is why the newer filmverse was never able to catch its momentum despite being better than some of its predecessors. Michael Bay's legacy with the Transformers had essentially become this ongoing albatross around the franchise's neck, but this wasn't the thing that really plagued Transformers 1. It was actually something else even more heinous, and that is bad marketing, which in all honesty still comes as a huge surprise to me, because marketing is one of the big shining points of the Bayverse. It's one of the things that pulled us in with the sequels when we thought we had learned our lessons from the previous films, such as the big eye-catching moments like the Driller from Transformers Dark of the Moon, or Optimus riding the back of the fierce Grimlock in Transformers Age of Extinction. Both of these particular TV spots were edited by Michael Bay himself, and their marketing potency could be attributed to his background in directing music videos as well as commercial advertisements. Like, if there was any element that they were going to bring back from Michael Bay into Transformers 1, it should have been his marketing, especially given the fact that he served as an executive producer on this movie. But seeing as this project wouldn't be live action this time around, Paramount thought it would be a good idea to go with a different approach, where instead of trying to make advertisements that appeal to audiences of all ages, they would aggressively market this movie towards kids, which is the biggest mistake they could have ever made, because the adults that they were depending on taking their kids to see this movie instantly waved it off and felt like they were going to be robbing their children of the true Transformers experience. It was bad enough that the audience was already dismissing it for its bad aesthetic, but the family-friendly humor and hokey vibe made it feel like something that was dispensable and innocuous, which was the total opposite of what we got when we saw the film. What we got was a deep dive into the psychology, friendship, and ultimate fallout between the franchise's most compelling characters, Optimus Prime and Megatron, two characters that once shared a common goal after being thrusted into this caste society, but saw that their differences were too significant for their friendships to survive. Their differences were understandable as they were heartbreaking, and it perfectly framed a rift between the brotherly bots that ultimately would have spanned millions of years, which would have ultimately played out in multiple sequels. But everything was all for naught, since Transformers 1 fell far short of box office expectations, with a measly opening weekend domestic gross of $24.6 million and an even measlier opening weekend overseas with only a $14 million gross, totaling their worldwide opening weekend gross to approximately $39 million, which is $61 million less than any of the previous Transformers movie openings. The film would ultimately end its run on $129 million at the box office, which is nothing short of unfortunate because this is the most inexpensive Transformers movie Paramount has ever produced, only costing them $75 million compared to the $300+ million that they produced with the other live action movies. But the positive reception and cost-conscious approach wasn't enough to save this universe, as it was announced in June of last year that Paramount had no plans of proceeding with any sequels. And as you can imagine, this still stings to this very day, which goes back to that question I asked: should fans get over it and simply move on? To which I say no, because I feel like there are still things that need to be done, not just with Transformers 1, but the franchise in general. Given the fact that the movie franchise has been in a steep commercial decline, and the fact that Paramount has desperately been trying to get back to those peak numbers that they saw in the 2010s, they should really consider taking a step back and stop listening to people within their little ecosphere and start holding their ears to the ones on the outside, that being the fans, because we're always going to be the loudest ones, whether we're in the room or out of it. Our opinions, especially when passionate, can act as a barometer for quality and reception, and when we're deeply invested in something like Transformers 1, our opinions can often reflect a high level of engagement and care, which was very apparent after seeing how TF Hype Guy was able to garner up a lot of attention when he decided that he was going to be a one-man marketing machine. Like, the guy literally got thousands of people to go check out the movie without even having to spend a single cent, and that word of mouth pretty much created this snowball effect. And had Paramount Pictures tapped in and leveraged that organic marketing, they could have got so many fans with things like memes and edits, which would have undoubtedly brought the movie more engagement. And it's crazy that I'm even saying how much they should listen to the fans, because I think that they knew this, especially after the big reveal of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, where people weren't too happy about seeing that original design for Sonic. The trailer was met with negative backlash, and our cries were so loud that it pushed them to change the design. Since then, the movies have gone on to gross over $1 billion at the box office, and they pretty much become the go-to franchise for Paramount, because unlike the live-action Transformers films, these films don't cost that much to make. Their budgets usually total out to a little over $100 million, which includes the advertisement costs, and each installment has made over $300 million at the box office, making it one of the most risk-mitigated franchises under the Paramount umbrella. And their connection with the audience has only deepened since giving the Blue Blur a facelift, and I honestly feel like it should be this way with the Transformers community, especially for those of Transformers 1, given the fact that the movie also shared something in common with Sonic the Hedgehog, like having a very cheap budget compared to the very inflated ones of the live action movies. The overall risk for Paramount is pretty much non-existent. Only thing they need to do is listen to the fans and learn from their previous mistakes. Don't put out something that doesn't represent the overall tone and atmosphere of what the movie is going to entail. Give us something that properly represents what you're going to be presenting. Transformers 1 already proved that it's the perfect launching point to restart and recalibrate, as well as revamp the perception of the franchise. Although it features a universe that consists with characters that we're familiar with, they're ready to be properly fleshed out. There are no annoying human fleshlings to steal their spotlight, not to mention that the war between the Autobots and Decepticons hasn't officially begun just yet. There's still plenty of story groundwork that needs to be laid out before we even get there. But with all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you guys. What do you think about this? Do you feel like we should let Transformers 1 go and move on? Or do you feel like we should continue to voice our opinion and make our presence known? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. As a successful YouTube user, I often get questions asking what I use to get my videos tons of views. And the answer to that is TubeBuddy. This thing has helped me take my channel to the next level in ways I never imagined. It's a browser extension that helps new and experienced YouTubers grow fast and optimize their channels. I've been using this extension for years, and it's constantly getting updated with new features, like the SEO tool that helps me come up with the perfect title, description, and tags to get more people to click on my videos. It even provides you with analytics besides your videos to see how much traffic your video is generating from various social media sites. The extension is absolutely free, but as a special offer, we're giving a 50% discount for channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers that purchase the Pro upgrade. All you have to do is enter in the code RisingStarBuddy. So if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel or taking your content to the next level, download the extension now. You can do so by clicking on this link that'll be provided in the description of this video.